Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Dafuq Did I Just Watch? With your host, as always, Kyle McLemore. This week we'll be recapping and reviewing the latest comedy thriller that is Cocaine Bear. Now, before we get too far along in the review, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It definitely helps the show stay alive, and we appreciate it here at MomsGarageStudios. Now, if you haven't seen Cocaine Bear and would still like to, make sure you pause now and return later, as there may be several spoilers up ahead. That's right, this is your official spoiler alert. Cocaine Bear is based on a true story, sort of. It is true that there was a drug dealer who was throwing cocaine out of a plane, and it's true that that drug dealer died when his chute malfunctioned, and it's also true that there was a bear that ingested a large quantity of cocaine. Now, the main difference between reality and the film is that in reality, after ingesting the cocaine, the bear simply overdosed and died without hurting anyone else, whereas in the film, the bear goes on a murderous rampage. The film is directed by Elizabeth Banks, who you might recognize from her work in The Hunger Games, or maybe when she showed up as Rita Repulsa in the Power Rangers movie. And this isn't the first time Elizabeth Banks has been in the director's chair. She also directed Pitch Perfect 2 and the latest Charlie's Angels movie. Cocaine Bear has a relatively large cast. There's lots of different characters all interacting throughout the forest. Lots of campers, lots of kids, lots of hikers, and lots of drug dealers. And although it has a large cast of characters, the film mostly follows Keri Russell, the mother in search of her missing children, as well as Alden Ehrenreich and O'Shea Jackson, the drug dealers in search of their missing cocaine. Now, you might recognize Keri Russell from her hit show The Americans, and in fact her co-star on The Americans makes a very brief cameo in this film as the skydiving drug dealer. Keri Russell does great in this film, as do the two small children. The little boy is pretty hilarious. That little girl is great as well. Them and Keri Russell have a really great dynamic. It works really well. Alden Ehrenreich and O'Shea Jackson make up kind of like our other main characters-ish. Alden Ehrenreich you probably recognize as the one and only, or I guess the only other Han Solo. That's right, it's young Han Solo. It took me a minute to recognize, but finally it hit me like, oh, that's Han Solo. Where have you been since that movie flopped? He hasn't done much since Han Solo, but it's good to see him back. O'Shea Jackson, you probably recognize from Straight Outta Compton, where he played his father, Ice Cube. He's the splitting image. He's okay in this. Like, they're both just okay. Like, they're not really given breathtaking performances. They're just kind of walking through the forest. They're supposed to have like this buddy-buddy dynamic, kind of like a road trip, kind of like Tommy Boy, kind of like a relationship is what I felt like they were going for. Unfortunately, it just never really like clicks in. Like, I don't know. They both have like this weird, dry, boring kind of like overtone, and it's like, I don't know, it just doesn't really mush together that good. Like, they're both just okay. They're both just very average. It's just like on both of them. And then there's the great Ray Liotta, R.I.P. forever. And depending on how you feel about the Cocaine Bear, we could probably call Ray Liotta the main villain of the film. He doesn't have a massive role in the film, but when he shows up, it's amazing, and all of his comedic delivery is phenomenal. And let's take a moment to appreciate the MVP of this film, and that's Margo Martindale, aka Ranger Liz. In a role that could easily have just been brushed to the side or written off or just concluded within like a minute, Margo Martindale secretly kind of steals the whole movie in this amazing role. She has some of the best delivery, she has some of the best lines, she has some of the best action sequences like in the film, and she is really a highlight in this movie. And let's talk a little bit about what we could call the main character of the film, and that's the Cocaine Bear. Now, there are no actual real bears in this film. It's all entirely CGI, but a little behind the scenes, the way that they would do it on set is that there was a dude in a kind of like bear exoskeleton. That way he could kind of like walk around and interact with the actors. And when he needed to like push him or like have action with the bear, the actors could actually react. And then later in post, they just CGI'd the bear. And as far as the looks of the bear, it looks amazing. It looks great. They do a good job of not making it too like animated or weird or kind of like cartoony, and they also do a great job of making it look horrifyingly ferocious when it's in like full murder bear mode. So in terms of like what it looks like, it looked amazing. They did great on the CGI of this bear. I don't think there was really any time where I'm just like, ugh, that looks fucking lame. I mean, even when the bear is like jumping in slow motion, it still looks really good. So let's talk about what works and what doesn't work with Cocaine Bear. What works with Cocaine Bear is basically anytime the bear is on screen. It's either maximum hilarity or maximum horrifying. So either way, you're peaking anytime the bear is on screen. So unfortunately, when the bear is off screen, it really takes a dip in the excitement level. And I think that takes us back to our kind of like the mesh of like our buddy Alden and O'Shea, kind of like it doesn't really blend as like good buddy action. So anytime it's like just them doing their like looking for cocaine stuff, it's like this is kind of boring and it doesn't really work that well. I mean, there are little things throughout the film that we could really pick out or dig into that's like that didn't work. Like there's a gang of teenagers played by like 30-year-old dudes, so it's like these old dudes walking around with like these short basketball shorts from like the 80s, or just dressed like, you know, however a teenager would dress from the 80s, and it's like, these are not even close to teenagers, dude. It looks weird having these like middle-aged dudes pretending to be like little kids. Or there's also like a random unnecessary twist of like, that cop's actually dirty. What? And it's like, that was not needed and it was like not necessary. It's like, I guess we can call it a random twist for no reason. So I suppose, yes, if you're really going to dig in, there are like little things here and there that are like, nah, that's not that great. Meh, that could have been done better. But as a whole, it's not terrible. I mean, it is entertaining. It is like if you go into it with the right mindset of like, you're not looking for crazy logic, you're looking for just like insanity, like cocaine fueled insanity, you'll get it here. Is this a 10 out of 10 perfect movie? No. I mean, come on now. Did anybody expect it to be a 10 out of 10 movie? Is this much better than I anticipated? Oh yeah, it is. Like if you want to watch something kind of dumb, if you want to watch something kind of silly, if you want to watch something with like, I feel like a big crowd of like other dumb, silly people would be fun to watch it with. It's a big crowd kind of movie. It's a turn your brain off kind of movie. It's a overall okay kind of movie. We're going to hit Cocaine Bear with a C+. Coming in a little bit above average, there are a few things in this movie that don't work as well. Some of our main characters, not that great. Fortunately, most of that is overridden by how good the Cocaine Bear is and how fun and entertaining all the bear scenes are. If you felt differently about Cocaine Bear, make sure you comment down below, and if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. Definitely helps the show stay alive, and we appreciate it here at Moms Garage Studios. I am your host as always, Kyle McLemore. We'll see you next time at the movies.